Hey guys, it's Abby Andrew and welcome back to my channel. So right now I've been working on lots and lots of Halloween videos that I'm trying to get out before Halloween, so I've been super busy. I'm probably going to have posted like 15 videos between recording this and Halloween day. Maybe that's an exaggeration. I'm not sure, to be honest though, because I'm working on a lot of cosplays. I got some wig reviews coming up, all of which I want to be posted by the 31st, and today is the 15th, 16th maybe? So I got a lot of work to do, but I did not want to miss the opportunity to talk about this subject because I think that this is a very, very important thing about my confidence journey with alopecia to share with you guys who might be struggling with overcoming alopecia insecurities as well. So as you guys know, if you know my background as a woman with alopecia, I was very insecure about it around the age of like 10 to the age of 19, and I kept it a secret. So I only wore the same wig style every single day. I really only would own one wig at a time. So I would like get a wig and then wear it for like 4 to 6 months and then replace it with the same wig over and over and over. So I never really changed my hair because I wanted people to believe that that was my hair. Also, if you know part of my story, I ended up eventually like opening up about alopecia via a Facebook post to just tell as many people at once about it. And that was in August of 2014 when I was 19 years old. But before that date, I was very insecure about having alopecia, couldn't even say the word alopecia without tearing up, getting really nervous, and didn't change wigs ever. Like now, if you see my Instagram and my YouTube channel, I'm constantly wearing different wigs all the time. I did not used to do that growing up. Just a couple of years ago, that was where I was in my alopecia journey. But I wanted to share with you some baby steps that I took that really helped me to prepare for opening up about alopecia. And this video is going to be about using Halloween costumes as baby steps for opening up about alopecia. Basically, the overview of this video is just going to be about testing out if you're someone that always wears the same wig every day because you don't want people to know that you're wearing a wig, trying out wearing different wigs on Halloween, because that's an opportunity to practice going out into the world wearing a different wig and trying to switch it up. I obviously recommend trying your best to be open about it, and if someone asks you, you can just be able to tell them that this is a wig, I have alopecia, and to feel confident saying that. But I know that that's really, really hard to get to that place, which is why Halloween is so good for using that as a baby step, because if someone asks you and you don't feel like opening up to them, you can just let them believe that it's a Halloween wig and you're wearing it over your hair. So actually, I did that in college after I was already kind of like open about alopecia. So that was after I made the Facebook post. So I made the Facebook post in August of 2014 announcing to everyone I knew that I had alopecia. So at that point, pretty much everyone in my life knew, but it took me about a year or two to get comfortable changing wigs regularly because I was still really scared to talk to people about it in person. And I knew that if I wore a different wig to class, for example, there would be people who didn't know that I wore wigs in the class that would ask me questions, and then I would have to tell them in person, which made me really nervous, and to get people's reactions in person, and I'd have to answer questions, which made me nervous. So even though I was already open about alopecia, I was still nervous to change wigs, so it was kind of my training wheels in that regard. So in October of 2014, after making that Facebook post, it was still not long after opening up about alopecia, so I was still kind of scared to change wigs. But so what I did was I used Halloween as my training wheels. So that year for Halloween, I was BMO from Adventure Time. So I wore a little BMO dress, it was really cute, and then my hair was just an old Cody wig by Amore that I dyed to be kind of like greenish blue. I had dyed it separately from this costume, but then I realized it was like the perfect color for BMO, so I ended up wearing it for the costume. So Halloween was such a great opportunity. So even though I was already open about having alopecia, like I said, it was still really nerve-wracking for me to answer people's questions in person, and wearing a different wig to work or class, for example, would inevitably cause people to ask you questions. Oh, you got a haircut. Oh, you dyed your hair. And then at that point, you're kind of at a crossroads where you can either say like, oh yeah, I dyed my hair, and then you're never going to want to change your wig back again because then you have to deal with those questions, or you can tell them straight up, this is a wig, I have alopecia, which can also be very scary. But on Halloween, if you go outside with a drastically different hairstyle, then nobody's going to think twice about it because they're just going to automatically assume it's part of your Halloween costume. So for me, that was kind of what I used to get myself comfortable starting to change wigs up, because it took me about 2 years or so to start changing up wigs consistently after coming out about having alopecia. So 2014, I was BMO for Halloween, and then I did the same thing for 2015 Halloween. I was Alice in Wonderland. So whereas my regular go-to wig was still like Tatum, about shoulder length wig with bangs and brunette. That was kind of my go-to wig at the time. So even though I was open about alopecia at that point, I still kind of would wear the same wig regularly just because I was more comfortable with that still. But then for Halloween, I wore a long blonde wig for Alice in Wonderland. And then by the next Halloween of 2016, that was when I was just starting to get comfortable changing wigs all the time. So at that point, it wasn't really for the sake of getting, like, using it as training wheels. But at that point, I did still wear different wigs for Halloween just because it was fun. So that year for Halloween, I was Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad. That was a very popular costume that year, of course. And I took the same wig that I used for my Alice in Wonderland costume the year before, and I dyed it pink and blue on the ends. So that was the wig I wore for Halloween that year. And now it's kind of like different every single day. But that was kind of like my training wheels to get used to wearing a different wig out. And now what I kind of want to do is start to use Halloween costumes and cosplay, probably more specifically cosplay, since Halloween I already have my costumes picked out and they involve wigs. But I kind of want to use cosplay as training wheels for not wearing a wig at all in costumes. So there's a couple characters that I want to do this with. I actually already did one of them and I'm so proud of myself, guys. At Comic-Con 2 weekends ago, I was Tank Girl for Halloween. And Tank Girl is a character I've wanted to be for so long because she has like patchy hair. And for a long time, I had really, really patchy hair. Now I'm entirely bald because I ended up just shaving the rest of it off. But for a good while, I had some like thick patches kind of like up in the front and one in the back that kind of looked like what Tank Girl's hair looked like in the comics. So for a long time, I wanted to build up the confidence to cosplay her using my actual hair, but I was just too scared to actually do it because that meant going out into the world or taking pictures without a wig, and I wasn't ready for that at the time. Then, as you guys might know, over the last year, my patches of hair that I did have started to get a little bit thinner, so I ended up shaving it off because of that, so I could no longer do Tank Girl with my own hair. But then, a couple of weeks before Halloween, I started to kind of like get ideas about being Tank Girl because I heard that Margot Robbie was going to do her reboot of Tank Girl, so it got me like thinking about Tank Girl a lot and thinking about how like I really hope they actually do the new character design for the reboot well. I hope they make sure that she has patchy hair or that she's bald. That would be so exciting and cool. As you guys know, I wrote my college thesis about bald women in media, so for the new Tank Girl movie to feature a like patchy or bald woman would be freaking awesome. So I was thinking a lot about that. And then I was kind of thinking about, like, I really gotta do that Tank Girl cosplay one of these days. I've never done it. I've wanted to do it for years. I gotta do it. So I was trying to brainstorm how I would do her patchy hair, since I was totally bald now. And I looked up clip-in bangs online, and I just had them sent to me to try to, like, glue them on my head and see what I could do just for fun. I wasn't actually planning on wearing this cosplay to Comic-Con at that time. I was just starting to compile pieces just to, like, put the costume together, maybe for like a photo shoot or something. But then the thing with the bangs worked out way too well. I have a video making of video for my Tank Girl cosplay hair, and it worked out so much better than I expected. And at that point, I had pretty much all the pieces for Tank Girl. I fell in love with the costume, and then I ended up wearing it to Comic-Con, which is a really big deal for me because I still am at a point where I'm a little bit nervous to go out into the world without a wig, but for some reason, I felt so confident as Tank Girl because I just felt like a badass. So even though I wasn't entirely bald as Tank Girl, I still had like a little bit of something glued to my head. It was still obvious that I myself was bald and that piece was just glued on. So essentially, I was out in the world without a wig. So now I kind of want to use cosplay as training wheels for being bald in public because while it still makes me really friggin' nervous I'll be honest, it makes me really nervous to take off my wig and just like walk down the street regularly. That makes me friggin' nervous because I hate people staring, I hate people asking uncomfortable questions. I just kind of like to keep to myself. And while I'm not really insecure about alopecia anymore, I just don't like people staring at me or asking me questions. But with cosplay, you kind of want the attention because when people are staring at you when you're in cosplay, it means your costume is good. So I kind of welcome those questions and those stares when I'm in cosplay, whereas walking down the street, it still makes me a little uncomfortable. So yeah, I successfully went to Comic-Con as Tank Girl, which I was so proud of myself for because I was a little bit nervous to go, but once I was there, I felt so badass and cool, and I really loved how the costume came out. So then some other cosplays I want to do of bald women are, I'm like dying to do Nebula. She was in the Avengers movies. She is Gamora's sister, like the kind of like robotic chick, like cyborg lady or whatever. With the blue head. I've seen other cosplays of her that look amazing, and I'm dying to do one myself because I wouldn't even have to wear a bald cap. I already have the bald head, so that would be really cool. I kind of want to do Moondragon, also from Marvel Comics. That would be friggin' awesome. I don't really know much about Moondragon. I kind of want to go. I actually found out about her because I found out she was a bald superhero, and she's also cool because she's like hot and bald. She's like hot and badass and bald. To be honest, the costume was like a little bit too sexy for me. Like, I'm not trying to be super risque here. Maybe I'll do a slightly more PG version, but it's just really cool because usually bald women aren't associated with getting to be attractive in media, so to see a character that is bald and also portrayed as like sexy is kind of cool in a way. So yes, that's all I had to say. This video turned out to be a little longer than I expected. I basically just wanted to say, use Halloween as training wheels for changing up your wigs or going without a wig, because I did that and it was really awesome, and it's just a cool way to get comfortable going out without a wig, knowing you won't really get a lot of questions about it, and that it's like totally normal to be wearing a wig on Halloween, if it is daunting for you. So yeah, let me know in the comments below what you're gonna be for Halloween. Let me know if you're gonna try this out, maybe test your confidence and try going out without a wig if you're not someone that does that regularly. That would be so cool, and I wish you the best of luck. And thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.